So the first item on the agenda is DevNet updates. Do we have Barnabas on the call to talk about DevNet 5 as well as DevNet 6?
Yeah, so DevNet 5 has been running for a few days now. It's been 3 weeks now. So it's been quite stable for quite a long time. We have a few clients that seem to be struggling to range sync. I think Lighthouse had a range syncing bug and Prism had a peering bug. The Prism peering bug seems to be resolved on .NET 5 for now, and Lighthouse still was unable to sync up to head. Other than that, everyone else is up to head, and that's why we decided to move on with .NET 6, which just launched a couple of hours ago, and we are going to go into the globals fork in about 40 minutes. So the scope of this DevNet is on the spec sheet. Over here, we have added pretty much all the remaining EIPs except the stable container one for the CL side.
Nice. So
Other
this
than
is
that,
all the EL as well as CL EIPs in this DevNet except for stable containers.
yes, that's correct.
Okay,
And
nice.
currently we have 3 execution layer clients, which are Bezu, Etrex, and Get for DevNet 6. And for DevNet 5, I think we have all the clients. So as soon as your client is ready to be onboarded, please let us know, and then we can add you to it. On the CL side, we have all but Grandin.
Nice. Is there specific tests that you're looking to do over the next day, or what's the general plan?
So the most important one now is that we're going to be doing some slashing just before the fork, and hoping that those validators will not get scheduled for the following epochs. That was also one of the EIPs that we included in the previous DevNet already. Yeah, so there are 3 slash validators for now, and we're going to be doing a lot more just before the fork.
Awesome. That's great news. Okay, so that was the next point on the agenda. So test slashed validators pre-fork. So yeah, Padam's already mentioned that we've taken care of that. So we should be able to see this. The next item on the agenda is a potential spec bug that Michael's brought up. I'm just going to link it here. Has anyone had a chance to look at this specific bug yet? Okay, Terrence says it's valid.
I mean, I have looked at it. I'm pretty sure it's valid. I'm just waking up though, so can review more later.
Yeah, of course. So I'd assume there's going to be a patch for this and then a spec release, and then we can target the next DevNet on the spec release. Yeah, we'll fix it for DevNet 7, basically.
Yep.
Sounds good. Anything else relating to DevNets?
Well, on Monday, you wanted to have a no-go or go decision on 7688 today. So I'm not sure whether that
Yes,
report
I
was
have that in the agenda slightly after, but yeah, that will be brought to you.
Okay. I didn't see it in the agenda otherwise, so okay.
I might not have updated the latest one, sorry. Yes, I will be bringing it up in the agenda later today. The next item on the agenda was relating to the Builder API, removing submit builder submit beacon block. This was from Bharat. Do we have any updates for this? Have client teams had a chance to look at it? Okay. Okay, I guess the default is to keep it if there's no push for removal from Nico. On a similar note, has anyone started working on circuit breakers? Do we want to have a push for standardization or keeping it as is? And if clients implement it, they do, otherwise they don't. Terrence says they haven't thought about circuit breakers yet. Do we have other client teams, and have they looked at circuit breakers on their code base? Or are we launching DevNet 6 right now with no circuit breakers?
I think this is a consensus. Like we don't need to agree on this. I think every client could come up with whatever strategy they think is best, and that's gonna
Yeah,
be good for
that's
diversity.
fine. But do clients have the code base for some strategy today?
I think there's a bunch of topics that has been discussed, especially during the interop. But yeah, I don't think any client would have implemented this already, and I'm not sure if this is gonna need to be ready for mainnet before we roll it out.
Sorry, are you suggesting we go to mainnet without circuit breakers?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we need all clients to have circuit breakers.
Sure, but at least we need a majority of them to have it. Otherwise, the chain would be in a broken state.
Well, we could have multiple bids coming in, so I'm not so sure about that anymore.
Okay. Yeah, Terrence?
Um, Speaking for Prism, we're reusing the same circuit breaker we have today for MAV boost. We just apply that, which is a simple one. You basically look at how many blocks are missed, like in a row or in an epoch. I believe it was like 2 blocks in a row, 3 blocks in a row, and it's more than 4 missing per epoch. Then we'll default the next proposal will use the local block building. So it's the same as today, but this may be Prism specific.
Yeah, I think having the circuit breaker that you have today working with EPBS is perfectly fine. We don't need to standardize it, but not having a circuit breaker at all feels extremely fragile. Yeah, Enrico?
Can you hear me? Sorry.
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we
can
can
hear
hear you.
Okay, sorry. So you're talking about because the previous circuit breaker were based on beacon blocks. So now you at least you have updated it to count for missing payloads, or you're still
Yeah, no. So yeah, I'm incorrect in a way that we're still using consensus blocks, so which is a little bit off, right? And we need
Yes.
to add that to using like the payload status as
Because I
well.
mean we should there is no circuit breaker if the beacon chain is working fine.
Yeah, which is our implementation is more like a bug rather than like
Exactly. So we should do something. So the default, so the pre-gloss circuit breaker doesn't really work.
exactly. So I will apply that, which I assume it's a few lines of code, hopefully, to do
Yes.
that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So will the clients actually
Yeah.
take a look at the payload as well, or just gonna keep it to the beacon block?
We have to look at the payload. That's the right way to do it.
because I believe you should not even consider the beacon block, because nowadays the beacon block should not be affected by the payload and all the machinery around it at all. So circuit breaker for beacon blocks goes away, and now we just have payloads reasoning.
Yep, that makes sense. This is something I would propose we should test in the future, but yeah, I agree with Dustin's claim there as well. It's not as fragile as it was before. The next item on the agenda is just to mention the Stake Builder API for Glamsterdam has been merged. I've seen that there's some amount of work being done on the Builder API recently. Does someone want to speak to that? Have all clients implemented it and we're testing it to the full scale on DevNet 6, or what's the plan? Yeah, Terrence?
Yeah, we have an implementation. It's not merged into the DevNet branch yet, but Barnabas and I have been testing. The latest progress is that like we got like multiplexing working, meaning that Kurtosis could support different builders, more than one builders with their unique URL. Then we're able to sign it and send the auths over, and the builders are happy. They're able to verify the authorization, and then we choose the highest bid. That's the latest progress. But I think I need to work on getting those feature merged into our main branch such that we can use it for the next DevNet. But at least the kurtosis has support and the builder has support, so client can start testing.
Awesome. I would assume we have it as an explicit target for the next fork so that we're also slowly reaching feature completeness, but that makes sense. Next item on the agenda was Beacon API PR. This is GLOAS Proposer Preferences API. Do we have James for the status, or have client teams had a look at it and left reviews?
Yep, just still waiting on more reviews. Prism has already implemented all the items in that PR, but yeah, looking for review and hopefully approval.
Cool. Would clients be able to provide approvals so that latest by ACDT we merge this in? Okay, thank you. Has any client had a look at pre-activation validator statuses and deposit in queue for post-Electra or Fulu deposit pipeline? There's another API change. Okay.
Why do we want to change this?
It was brought up in the agenda. I'm not 100% sure. Okay, maybe it was the wrong link, sorry. I can, okay, got it. I will try and figure out what happened with the wrong link. In the meantime, the next point on the agenda was extending the peers API with peer scoring and disconnect reasons. Do we have any suggestions or things to merge? Nico, I think you were reviewing the PR. Is there any open topics there, or is it just waiting on clients to approve it?
So I haven't looked at it from the implementation, but if people are fine with how the spec looks, I think we can probably merge it. I think the only open question was if we want to add the extra data field. But yeah, I think we anyway keep the V1, so we are just extending that. So I think it's fine as is, probably.
Yeah, it sounds like extend with optional might be the easiest way to go.
Could we also aim to merge this in then by ACDT if nobody has any opposition?
I think it would be best if someone from TechWho could maybe approve it. Seems like they are the only ones that looked at implementing it. So
I believe Paul will take
Yeah,
it.
I will text with Paul.
Okay, thank you. Any other open API slash builder related changes for Glamsterdam? James posted yeah, James, do you want to speak for that one?
Yeah, this is the new proposer path PR for APIs. So it's introducing the get block v4 and submit block all for Glamsterdam. I already gave a thumbs up on this one. There is a separate topic regarding one of the query parameters, which is the builder boost factor. POTUS has already raised an issue on the repo. I think that's going to be a bigger discussion, and I don't think that discussion should block this PR, which at least should satisfy the self-building paths. So this includes both the stateless and stateful paths for proposing blocks in GLOS. So I think we just need more people from other teams to either approve it or give any last comments. The author of the PR, Shane, mentioned that he is getting married, so he is out of office until July 4th. So we will have to take over if we want any changes before that. Or just do it in separate PRs.
Would clients be able to leave a review by ACDT and then we can get that merged async? But yeah, I agree. I think this is something we should test earlier rather than later. And then we can talk about inclusion for the next DevNet, I guess. Yeah, it feels like there's a lot of Beacon API PRs. It would be nice if we can clean this up for over the next days. Yeah, and the message from PK is that we should probably merge it. The endpoints are already in use. There's also a simplify payload attributes event that's been linked here from Ethan, and yeah, I'm probably the same instructions as before. I think it would be good to have people review this, and hopefully by ACD T we get it merged in, and we can schedule all of these for DevNet 7, especially if they're breaking changes. Okay, anything else for API or builder related topics? Okay, let's move on to EIPs. So for Glamsterdam, the first one is EIP 7688. The floor is yours, Ethan.
Yes, on Monday we had ACDT and we wanted to decide whether to include or not include 7688 into like the scope, like SFI or DFI, and there was this plan to do this go no go decision today, and I guess it would be good if every client team could just provide their views and how far they are with the implementation. So yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so SFI would have to wait until it's the DevNet, but we can make a decision if it's DFI or not DFI, essentially.
Okay. Yeah.
And then talk about including it in the next DevNet. But for that one, it would be extremely important to get client team voices. Have teams looked into implementations? I'm just going to go step by step. So yeah, Cayman from Lodestar says they have an implementation. Nimbus has an implementation. Grandine doesn't. Lighthouse does. Teku and Prism. What about you guys?
We are working on it. It's not completed. Can be like POC, POC like implemented soon, but it will require a little bit more work to improve. Because I got some doubts around what happens on the transitions when we need to translate attestations on when things when fork activates, and need to also double check all the potential performance regressions. So yeah, it's on the way.
Do you think it's a sizable lift for DevNet 7, or do you feel like it's in the scope of possibility? Like, are you starting fresh, or is this a working?
No,
Is
it's
something you
not
just need some
fresh.
time to refine?
Yeah, it needs to be complete. It's not starting fresh because we had a previous implementation on the very early prototypes for previous version of the EIP. But the point is that this very last version of the EIP introduces the progressiveness in various other places, and even in places where we were not very prepared to change the type there. So the radius blast int Teku side is pretty, yeah, touches places where we were not touching previously.
Okay, and has this already been taken into account in the other implementations? Lighthouse or Prism, for example, have you guys already? Is the implementation mostly there, or where are you guys at with it?
Prism has a we've updated our code generator, so we're generating localization code that passes Eton's spec test fixtures, and like Teku, we had to deal with all of the fields that are becoming progressive lists in different places. So that took a little bit of more changes on the code generator. But there's some other nuances, like the what to do with attestations of the transition. That's something that we have flagged as well to figure out. So there are details to work out, but we have the kind of the hardest part of the implementation figured out, so we feel good about it.
Okay, that sounds like it's promising then. So could we get a go, no go from our clients? Would you guys be ready to spend the time to schedule this for DevNet 7, or would you feel like it's too big a lift? There's other priorities, or there's builder related work that needs to be done instead for DevNet 7? Could we go client by client? The when is DevNet 7 is an open question, of course. It depends on DevNet 6 stability, but let's try and target 2 to 3 weeks so that we can slowly start hitting production level code and then scheduling testnets. Nimbus says they're okay. What about the other clans? Lodestar, yeah. Okay. Casey, would that be a yes from Prism, or is that a maybe?
Yeah, I would say it's a weak yes and a strong maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, the same for
Um,
us. I mean, the amount of work that needs to be done on the API side and the builder flow on Teco side is still pretty big. So this adds up on the current workload, and yeah,
Okay.
it's not a no, but it's a is a yes, hopefully.
I do also want to throw in that I think this is somewhat unique in terms of our DevNet uh, merge philosophy that we've had in the past, where it would be easy to pull this out at the last minute. It's like not interacting with other things in the fork. So I feel okay about saying like let's go for it, and then if we get DevNet 7 and we have other things we need to test and we need to pull this, as long as we have another DevNet to test it, it seems not too risky.
Well, I'd push back into the easy rollback of it, because when you have to deal with all the types changes inside the code, then start removing everything. So it's pretty invasive in certain areas, at least for us.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. That's very implementation specific.
Okay. It seems like we're at an even split. We have 3 clans that's a yes, 3 that are a maybe. That to me sounds like there's no one that's a strong no. So we wouldn't DFI this today. And we should probably target it for DevNet 7. And then if it feels like it's too big a lift for DevNet 7, or it feels like there's a lot of other bugs that have been showing up on DevNet 6, then we can revisit the decision and then DFI it later on. Does that sound like a fair outcome? So stable state, everything goes well, it goes in the next DevNet. If it feels like it's too big a lift, if it feels like we're finding a lot of other bugs, in that case, we don't include it in DevNet 7. Okay. Anything else for progressive containers, or are we all aligned on the topic?
No, it's good. Just have to set the expectation that it's included, like in DevNet 7, right?
Yes, I mean, unless something drastically breaks in DevNet 6 and we
Yeah,
need
yeah.
to change the spec by a big amount, yes, we should sprint towards it on DevNet 7.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Okay, the next EIP to discuss is EIP 8080. We had signaled intent to DFI this EIP. Is there any reason to not DFI it? Have clients got some more time to look into it and want to revisit the decision? The main reason for DFI was that in the past, it seemed like it was a lot of implementation complexity. Okay, then we will move EIP 8080 to DFI. Sorry, Dima, do you want to say something about the EIP before we go ahead?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely not aware of how complex the implementation is. At a glance, it looks like it shouldn't be complex, but the devil is in the detail, always. In general, I want to say that this concern with the ability to utilize consolidation queue for faster exits when the exit queue is clogged is a pretty meaningful problem on the application layer for staking providers, because how to properly frame that? a few providers have previously indicated that they are using it, even though this is not an intended behavior. But like EtherFi recently, when they were closing their solo staker program, they were using consolidations to exit their solo validators by simply consolidating all of them to one thing. I think before being acquired by Maven, Peer 2 made a big announcement that they are even selling it as a product feature, which is in general, like, it's not great that we have this duality where you have two ways of effectively exiting the stake when one of these ways is definitely not meant to be done this way. So, like, if there is a chance that we can include this EAP, that would close a very unfortunate gap that we have in the consolidation specification. And what is more important is that there will be no chances again of some players like having an unfair disadvantage compared to the others. Because the simple thing here is that if you are building a reasonable DeFi application without a multi-sig controlling it, you to utilize this feature, you need to have a specific implementation for that. While non-protocols like professional operators or just shady protocols that are managed by multisig have an unfair advantage of being able to use that. And in my opinion, it's not the best situation when we are giving an unfair advantage to those using not the best security practices and protocol building practices.
Yep, I think the intent and motivation for the EIP are clear. I don't think anyone was even particularly against the EIP. Most of the pushback was purely around implementation complexity, as well as Glamsterdam already being a massive fork where even today we just added another big feature to it. So I think the pushback was mostly around implementation complexity and time. However, that being said, since there's no fundamental reason why anyone's opposing this, and it is a gap that's worth plugging in the future, we still have the Hegota non-headliner window open. So I'd suggest that the authors repropose for Hegota, and then this is something we can still solve in the future.
So I will be just curious
Yeah.
to listen from someone what is the implementation complexity, because I was involved on finding this kind of bug in the specs of consensus layer, and it seems that TCP is just updating one function, so it's not really a big change in my opinion. So I was just wondering, like, did during testing or implementation like corner cases appeared, or like how did this complexity arise as a factor here?
I have to check which. I think we have to check the forecast transcript to see which which ACD we spoke about this. Probably the two ACDs in the past. Do any client teams have specifics that we can bring up today? Okay. I think we might have to just dig up the transcript and then get back to you on that, Greg. Is that okay? Okay. Thank you. The next item on the agenda was EIP 8045, exit/validators from proposing. So I think the open agenda item was there was a Prism PR, and if we can SFI this EIP now. Do we have POTUS on the agenda? At least my notes say that we were waiting on something there.
I thought this is already in the DevNet.
Yeah, this is already in DevNet.
Okay, so it was just about moving into SFI status. Okay, got it. Thank you.
Technically speaking, it is worth waiting for the actual fork to happen on DevNet and then to
Yes.
see that it works.
No,
Yes,
but it's
totally,
already on
totally.
DevNet 5. It's not on DevNet 6. This was already included in the previous DevNet. Even.
Okay, got it. Sounds like I just had some stale information. Do we have an update on A2 builder execution requests?
It's gonna be tested on DevNet 6 in 8 minutes.
I can give an update if there's no one else from the team here.
Yes, please.
So one thing that is broken with this is the queuing mechanism, same as the other contracts, but this one is a bit more severe. What Felix now implemented is a new version that updates the fee every time someone is added to the queue, not on every block. That means that fees might be a bit higher, but we don't have this case where you can enqueue a lot of validators into a lot of builders into the queue or the exit queue, and then the fee is updated into infinity. So yeah, a new version of the contract should be out already, and that one is strictly better than what we have right now. And the old version is being tested on BellDevNet 6, which is good. So we can test the workflow. We can see if all the plumbing is correct, and then for DevNet 7 we should probably update the contract. Yeah. Otherwise, what we also want to do is have internal reviews and external reviews for the contract, because this change is not big, but it does update the logic of the contract. Yep, I think that's for 82.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, Nico?
Yeah, just one more update, which also relates to updating the contracts. So it would be in DevNet 7, which is we might want to tweak the values we currently use for deposits. It's currently 32, the target, and 256 is the max. And I think we should reduce that to 8 and 64. That would allow us to further reduce the withdrawability delay for builders. So currently it's, I think, set at 8,192 epochs. And we can, with 80 to 82, we can safely reduce that again to at least 64, what we had previously. But I think we can further reduce this if we adjust the contract constants to like 8 epochs or even lower, because there's no DOS risk anymore. So this would make the UX for builders a lot better, as they can more quickly withdraw their money if they need to. So potentially they can stake more ETH that way and compete more on high value bits and use trustless payments. So that would be the main argument to do this.
Thank you. Would a combination of Nico, Marius, or potentially the authors let us know when it's in the final state? Because we would still have to organize an audit for the final contract. That can happen in parallel, of course, but still, it would be useful to have a signal that it's in the final state. We can just add it to the agenda on every ACD and ACDT to check in so that we get it in a 3-day cadence and know when everything's final.
Yeah, I would probably defer this to Felix or Matt to talk about when the contracts are in a final state. Maybe they are already. The change from my side would only be adjusting 2 constants, basically, which should be minimal.
Yes, but we'd still want to wait until everything's final, including the constants, before we send it out for the audit.
Yeah, I think that one definitely, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, Marius?
I just wanted to say, happy to check in with my gut team members on the status, and if we can go ahead with the conference and when we get to the final stage for the orders.
Okay, perfect. Any other Glamsterdam related topics?
Do we want to do the dynamic size or no on the contract? Dynamic queuing that PK raised maybe 2 weeks ago regarding 8282.
That probably would make sense if we are not sure about the DQ rate. Like we are still guessing if 265, 56 or 64 or whatever. That's why we could change it after the fork by a future fork without doing a irregular state change on the contract. Because when we hard code it and deploy it, we can't change the contract anymore.
Is this captured as a comment or a PR to the EIP or somewhere that people can discuss this? Okay, if not, then maybe you could open a PR so people have the exact changes in mind, PK?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, and comment from Marius was that it sounds a bit brutal. Cool. Any other EIP discussions for Glamsterdam or Glamsterdam topics in general? Anything clients are having trouble with or want to flag today? Okay, perfect. Let's move on to Hegota then. There's only one point on the agenda. It's that we still have our Hegota non-headliner window open. For now, we're still looking for when the last date would be before the window closes, but for now it's open, and I just wanted to announce that. Any other Hegota related topics? We still have some time or so. If there's anything fossil related or anything else that client teams have been working on for Hegota, then we can discuss that now. Okay. Justin mentioned that Lucid needs some CL oversight.
Yeah, can I do a plug real quick since we got some time?
Sure, you have the next few minutes.
Real quick, Lucid is ongoing. I'm working on execution layer specs for it, but I don't know what goes into good CL level specs. So if anybody is interested, we could use some advice and some guidance on how to not embarrass ourselves when opening, CL specs, changes to the Python stuff, etc. So if this is something that you can help us out with, if you can take a look at what we're doing and tell us that we're crazy or give us a little bit of guidance, that would be super appreciated. Reach out to me or anybody else involved with encrypting the mempool. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Love you all. Bye.
I can help you with that. Either way, I'll reach out.
Justin Power. Thank you, bud.
Thank you. If there's no other topic, then I do want to mention that we're currently having our vote for what the Glamsterdam mascot should be. So please remember to drop your vote. And that being said, that's it for ACD 181. See you guys in 2 weeks. Sorry, Lauren?
Yes, I posted this on the GitHub issue, but a quick announcement. Shutter and the Encrypt the Mempool Coalition are offering a 3 ETH bounty for feedback on the draft EIPs 8105, that's Universal Enshrined Encrypted Mempools, and EIP 8184, Lucid. So if you have feedback, Please share your feedback and submit the claim before July 30th. The link is in the GitHub issue. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I do want to echo Marius' sentiment. Usually we don't use ACD to talk about bounties, but yeah, please have a look at the EIPs that they've offered. Thanks everyone for coming, and see you in 2 weeks.